The stars above the galactic Senate glowed soft and peaceful, as if the universe itself believed war had ended. Inside the grand chamber, the leaders of Earth and the Zalari Empire stood side by side. Smiles were exchanged. Hands were shaken. Words of peace echoed through the hall. The Treaty of Unity was signed that day, and many believed it marked the beginning of a better future. But not everyone was celebrating. Commander Rhea stood silently in the shadows of the human delegation, her eyes scanning the room. She didn't smile. She didn't clap. She just watched. Rhea had seen too much to trust easy peace. She had fought in the border conflicts. She had read the enemy's tactics, their strategies, and their history. And one thing always stood out: Zalari never made peace unless they had something to gain. After the ceremony, Rhea walked into Earth Command's secure briefing room. The doors hissed shut behind her. A team of analysts and military officers sat waiting. She dropped the treaty papers on the table. "It's a trap," she said calmly. The room fell silent. General Tran raised an eyebrow. "The Senate just approved it. Billions are celebrating. You really think they'd risk a lie this big?" Rhea nodded. "Read Section 14, Subclause D. It allows joint patrols in border sectors." "Look closer. It doesn't say whose patrols. It gives them an excuse to station warships near our colonies." The analysts pulled up the treaty on screen. Line by line, they went over it. And Rhea was right. The words looked harmless to the public, but to a trained military mind, they opened the door to something far more dangerous. A week later, Zalari patrol ships began moving toward the edge of human space. They called it peacekeeping. News channels showed friendly images of Zalari, captains shaking hands with human diplomats. But in orbit above smaller colonies, their ships loomed like silent threats. Civilians didn't notice, but Rhea did. She called in Captain Navarro, leader of Recon Unit 9. "I want eyes on every Zalari patrol route. I don't trust them. Stay hidden, no transmissions. If they're planning something, we need to know before they act." Navarro nodded and left without a word. His unit was one of Earth's best, trained for silent operations, used to working in shadows. Back in the command center, Rhea stared at the star map. Red dots marked each Zalari patrol. They were forming a net, a slow cage around key human systems. She knew this wasn't peace, it was preparation. Days passed. More Zalari ships arrived, always in small numbers. Never enough to alarm the galaxy, but always enough to pressure Earth's defenses. Then something strange happened. One of Earth's outer colonies, Haven 7, went silent. There was no distress signal, no emergency beacon, just silence. Zalari officials claimed it was a natural disaster. A meteor storm, they said. Communications were just damaged. But something didn't add up. Rhea ordered a stealth drone to investigate. It took 2 days. What it found made her blood run cold. The colony was destroyed. Buildings turned to ash. No signs of meteors, only the burn patterns of plasma weapons, Zalari weapons. It was an attack, a silent one, and it was covered up. She stood alone in the darkened control room that night, watching the footage. Children's toys burned in the wreckage. No bodies, no survivors. Rhea clenched her fists. So that's how they want to play it. She knew what this was. The treaty was never meant to bring peace. It was a trick to get close, to weaken Earth's defenses from inside. The galaxy would see Earth as the peaceful side. If Earth responded too strongly, they'd be blamed for starting a war. But if they waited too long, they'd lose everything. She walked into the war room the next morning. Her voice was sharp and steady. "We prepare in silence, no public announcements, no panic. We let them believe we trust the treaty. But from this moment forward, we act as if war has already begun." Her officers looked at each other, unsure. I want fleet movements hidden under supply missions, she continued. I want backup comms set on every colony, and I want our stealth fleet on alert. If the Zalari want to dance in the shadows, we'll lead. Across Earth's military networks, quiet changes began. Defense grids were checked and rearmed. Fighters were repositioned, old alliances reawakened. To the rest of the galaxy, Earth looked calm, peaceful. But behind that calm, humanity was sharpening its blade. And far beyond, on a distant Zalari command ship, a commander watched Earth's colonies through a tactical display. He smiled. "They believe in the treaty," he said to his second-in-command. The second officer grinned back. Then the first, "Strike will be easy." What they didn't know was this: Earth had read the treaty too, every word, every trick. And while the Zalari prepared to attack, humanity was already watching, waiting, and ready. The calm on Earth's surface was a mask that hid a storm growing beneath. Commander Rhea stood again before her team in the dimly lit briefing room, the air tense with urgency. The news from the stealth drone was worse than she had imagined. Haven 7 wasn't the only colony under threat. Reports were coming in. Communications from nearby outposts were being jammed, sensors detecting unidentified ships moving close but always disappearing before anyone could get a clear picture. Rhea's voice was steady but firm. "The Zalari patrols are not just for show. They're probing our defenses, looking for weaknesses. We cannot wait for the first full-scale attack. We must act before they decide to strike." General Tran frowned. "But if we move too soon, the Galactic Senate might condemn us. They want peace. They want trust." Rhea met his eyes. "Trust is earned, General, not given away like candy. They signed a treaty, yes, but we read between the lines. They're setting the stage for war, right under our noses." She turned to Captain Navarro. "Your unit will monitor all patrol paths. We need proof. Hard evidence that the Zalari are planning more than just peacekeeping. We cannot fight a war on guesses." Navarro nodded, already preparing his team. "We'll get it, Commander." Days passed in a tense silence. Earth's leaders kept a public face of calm while behind closed doors, preparations raced forward. Secret meetings, intelligence briefings, rapid weapon tests, all hidden from the eyes of the galaxy. Then came the first break. Recon Unit 9 intercepted a Zalari communications channel. The messages were coded, but patterns emerged. The Zalari fleets were gathering near a strategic point, a jump gate that linked the outer colonies to Earth's core systems. If the gate fell, Earth's supply lines would be cut. Rhea stared at the decrypted messages. "They plan to strike soon. The treaty is a lie. They want control." She ordered immediate reinforcement of the jump gate defenses. Human engineers worked day and night to strengthen shields and install new turrets. Fighters were stationed in secret, ready to defend. But the Zalari were clever. Their next move was unexpected. Without warning, a small fleet appeared near the jump gate. Instead of attacking, they broadcast a message, calm, polite, and false. "We come in peace," the Zalari commander announced. "We seek to conduct joint exercises to build trust." Rhea narrowed her eyes. "A test," she said. "They want to see how we react." The Galactic Senate demanded that Earth cooperate. To refuse would seem aggressive. To accept might open the door to disaster. Rhea gathered her officers. "We'll allow the exercises," she said, "but under our rules, our terms, and every move they make will be watched." The joint exercises began. Zalari ships moved in coordinated patterns, their weapon systems active but dormant. Human crews maintained a cautious stance, ready to strike if needed. Behind the scenes, Rhea's scouts mapped every ship, every crew member's pattern. She knew the moment they showed weakness, the war would begin. One night, an alert flashed across the command center. A Zalari destroyer had moved too close to a human supply ship. Sensors detected an energy spike. Too fast to be an accident. Ria's heart pounded. "Prepare for emergency protocols," she ordered. "This may be the first real attack." But then, the energy spike disappeared. No damage, no warning shots. It was a test. A warning. The Zalari were daring Earth to respond. Ria looked at her team. "They want us to break the treaty first, to make us the aggressor." She clenched her fists. "But we won't give them that chance." Behind closed doors, Earth's fleets went on high alert. Stealth ships shadowed every Zalari move. Human intelligence agents infiltrated Zalari diplomatic circles, searching for plans and secrets. The galaxy still believed in peace, but humanity knew the truth. They were caught in a game of shadows, and only one side could win. Ria whispered to herself as she stared at the stars. "They thought we trusted the treaty, but we read between the lines, and humanity was ready for the war that no one else saw coming." The silence after the tense joint exercises was thick, but it was far from peace. Commander Ria and her team knew the Zalari were testing them, pushing to see how far Earth would tolerate before striking. The mysterious energy spike near the A supply ship was just the beginning. One morning, the alarm system in Earth Command blared. A colony on the fringe of human space, out beyond the jump gate, had gone dark. No signals, no responses to repeated calls. The colony of Haven 9 was silent. Ria's heart sank. Memories of Haven 7 flashed in her mind. That colony had been destroyed in secret. Could this be the same? Without wasting a moment, Ria ordered a stealth reconnaissance mission. Captain Navarro and his Recon Unit 9 were to fly in, unseen, and gather all information. The team prepared in shadows, their ships masked by advanced stealth technology. As they approached Haven 9, what they found was chilling. The colony was in ruins. Buildings lay in rubble. Fires burned low, smoke drifting into the black sky. But there was no sign of any natural disaster. The patterns of destruction told a different story. Plasma scorch marks burned deep into the walls, signs of targeted attacks from advanced weapons, not meteors or accidents. The colony had been attacked, and the attackers had been efficient. No survivors, no distress calls sent out. Navarro's voice was cold over the comms. "Commander, this is no accident. It's war." Ria clenched her fists tightly. "They're trying to hide it, pretending it's a natural disaster to keep the galaxy calm." She turned to her officers. "We cannot let this stand, but we must be smart. If we react openly, the Zalari will call us the aggressors." General Tran's voice was heavy with concern. "So what do we do? Wait for more colonies to fall?" "No," Ria answered firmly. "We prepare quietly, we build our strength, and we strike when the time is right." In the following days, Earth's fleets moved in secret. Stealth ships shadowed every Zalari patrol. Scientists worked to improve cloaking technology. Pilots trained for silent strikes. The war that the galaxy hoped was over was very much alive. Meanwhile, the Zalari broadcast peaceful messages to the public, denying any involvement in the attacks. Their diplomats spoke of unfortunate accidents and natural events. But the truth was clear to Ria and her team. The treaty was a mask, a lie wrapped in paper. One evening, while reviewing intelligence reports, Ria found more disturbing news. A large Zalari fleet was gathering near a strategic planet called Aris Prime. It was a crucial supply hub for human colonies. If the Zalari captured it, Earth's outer defenses would collapse. Ria's voice was steady but urgent. "We must defend Aris Prime at all costs." The preparations began immediately. Earth's forces deployed new defensive satellites around the planet. Fighters took up patrols in the skies. Every weapon was ready, but the Zalari had more tricks. Instead of attacking directly, their fleet sent a single ship to deliver a message. The Zalari commander's voice was calm and cold. "We come with an offer of peace. Surrender Eris Prime, and no more blood will be spilled." Rhea smiled bitterly. "Peace is just another word for control." She gathered her officers. "This is a test. They want to see if we will give up." The team steeled themselves. "We fight," Rhea declared, "not because we want war, but because we refuse to be controlled." As the Zalari fleet moved closer to Eris Prime, Earth's defenses held strong. The first real battle was coming, but Rhea knew one thing. Humanity would never back down. They had read between the lines. And now, the galaxy would see what that truly meant. The battle for Eris Prime began under the cold light of distant stars. The Zalari fleet advanced with precision, their warships cutting through the void like blades. Earth's defenders waited. Behind strengthened shields, their fighters poised for combat. Commander Rhea stood on the bridge of the flagship Resolute, eyes locked on the tactical display. "This is it," she said softly. The moment they hoped would never come. The first shots rang out, sharp bursts of energy tearing through the darkness. Human fighters darted between enemy ships, weaving through plasma fire and launching counterattacks. The Zalari moved like a deadly dance, testing Earth's responses, probing for cracks. But humanity was ready. Every defense, every strategy had been honed in secret. Earth's ships moved with a fierce determination, striking back with precision and power. In the chaos, Rhea noticed something unusual. One Zalari cruiser kept holding back, avoiding direct engagement. It hovered near the edge of the battle, scanning, waiting. She ordered a reconnaissance drone to investigate. As the drone closed in, it captured a secret transmission from the cruiser, a coded message revealing a hidden fleet waiting to jump into battle. Rhea's heart raced. The Zalari had a second wave ready. The treaty had been a trap all along, designed to lull Earth into a false sense of security, while the real attack waited in the shadows. She transmitted the warning to all commanders. "Prepare for reinforcements. They're coming." The Resolute pushed harder, leading the charge against the front line. Fighters and warships alike fought bravely, buying precious time for Earth's defenses to brace for the hidden fleet. Suddenly, a massive jump gate shimmered open near the battlefield. The hidden Zalari fleet poured through, their numbers overwhelming. The battle shifted. What had begun as a test was now a full-scale war. But Earth's forces did not falter. Rhea's voice cut through the comms. "Hold the line! Protect Eris Prime at all costs!" Fighters zipped through the chaos, engaging enemy ships with renewed vigor. Engineers worked furiously to repair shields and weapons damaged in the fight. Every soldier and pilot knew the stakes. Failure meant losing not only a vital planet, but the trust of countless colonies depending on Earth's protection. Amidst the explosions and flashing lasers, a human pilot named Mira locked onto an enemy warship. Her voice was steady but fierce. "For Earth!" She fired a precise volley that struck the cruiser's power core. The ship exploded in a brilliant burst of light, sending shockwaves through the battle. Rhea allowed herself a brief smile. Humanity had the will to fight and the skill to win. As the battle raged on, she knew this was only the beginning. The Zalari had broken the treaty. They had started a war. But humanity had read between the lines, and they would not let their worlds fall without a fight. The fierce battle over Eris Prime stretched on for days, but the true cost was still hidden beneath the surface. Earth's forces fought bravely, yet the Zalari's strength seemed endless. Every time a ship was destroyed, another seemed to take its place. The hidden fleet was large, and its commanders ruthless. Commander Rhea stood on the command bridge, watching the war unfold. Her eyes were tired but sharp. Communications crackled with reports of small colonies under attack, supply lines cut, and reinforcements delayed. The Zalari were cutting Earth's support, isolating them piece by piece. She turned to General Tran. They're trying to starve us out. We have to protect our supply routes at all costs. Tran nodded grimly. We need to hit back hard, strike their supply lines before they can cut us off completely. Rhea agreed, but knew the risks. We can't afford to lose more colonies, but we must disrupt their plans. We'll send in covert teams to sabotage their supply depots. As the plan unfolded, Earth's stealth operatives infiltrated Zalari, bases on remote asteroids and moons. Under cover of darkness, they planted explosives, hacked communications, and gathered vital intelligence. Each mission was dangerous, but every success gave Earth a sliver of hope. Meanwhile, the Zalari sent diplomats again, trying to stall the war with promises of negotiation. Their words were smooth and filled with lies, but Earth's leaders saw through the deception. Rhea gathered her officers. They want us to lose faith, to believe peace is still possible, but we know better. The treaty was never about peace. It was a trap. As Earth's forces pressed their covert attacks, the Zalari responded with brutal countermeasures. Ambushes grew more frequent. Human ships were hunted even in safe zones. The war had become a deadly game of cat and mouse. One night, Rhea received a coded message from an unexpected source, an insider within the Zalari ranks. The message revealed a secret. The Zalari leadership was divided. Some wanted total war, but others feared Earth's growing power and wished to end the conflict before it destroyed both sides. Rhea's mind raced. Could this division be used? Could it be the key to ending the war? She called an emergency meeting. We have a chance, she said. We can use their doubts against them, but we must be careful. One wrong move, and we're finished. Her officers nodded, understanding the weight of the moment. The war was far from over, but for the first time, Earth had a glimpse of hope. Not from the stars, but from within the enemy itself. They had read between the lines, and now they would use that knowledge to turn the tide. 2 minutes. The fragile hope from the Zalari insider sparked a new plan within Earth's leadership. Commander Rhea and her team moved carefully, knowing the smallest mistake could end everything. They decided to send a secret envoy, not soldiers, but diplomats, skilled in words and truth. Under deep cover, the envoy traveled to a neutral space station between human and Zalari territories. There, behind guarded walls and hidden cameras, they met with the Zalari faction that wanted peace. The meetings were tense, filled with suspicion and silence. But slowly, trust began to grow. The Zalari peace faction shared vital information. Their leaders planned a final massive assault to crush Earth's defenses completely. This attack would be swift and deadly, designed to force surrender. Rhea's envoy returned with the news, and Earth's commanders prepared for the worst. We must act before that assault, Rhea said. If we wait, it's the end. The human forces began a series of bold strikes, hitting key Zalari command centers and supply lines with precision. The unexpected attacks disrupted the Zalari plans and bought precious time for Earth's defenses to recover, but the Zalari warhawks were furious. They launched brutal retaliations, striking deep into human space with overwhelming force. Entire colonies faced devastation, and civilians were caught in the crossfire. Rhea stood firm. We fight to protect our people, she reminded her officers, but we also fight for peace. In the midst of the conflict, the Zalari peace faction made a risky move. They leaked documents proving the Warhawks had secretly sabotaged the treaty from the start, lying to their own people and to the Galactic Senate to start this war. The revelation shocked the galaxy. Many Zalari citizens began to question their leaders. Protests erupted, and divisions deepened. Earth used this moment to send a message to the Galactic Senate. The treaty was broken before it began. We acted to defend ourselves. Now is the time for true peace talks, one based on honesty, not lies. The galaxy watched as old alliances shifted and new hope emerged. But Commander Rhea knew the war was not over yet. The Zalari Hawks still held power, and their final assault was coming. The lines had been read, and now the fight for the future of humanity and the galaxy had entered its most dangerous chapter. The final battle loomed like a dark storm on the horizon. Earth's forces braced for the Zalari Warhawks' last desperate assault. Commander Rhea stood on the bridge of the Resolute, watching the fleet gather like a wave ready to crash. "Tonight, we fight not just for survival," she told her officers. "We fight for every world, every family that hopes for peace." The Zalari war fleet surged forward with overwhelming numbers and fierce weapons. Explosions lit the void as ships clashed in brutal combat. Earth's defenders pushed back with all their strength, but the enemy's fury was unlike anything before. Amid the chaos, the Zalari peace faction made their move. Secretly, they disabled critical systems on several Warhawk ships, causing confusion and slowing the assault. The betrayal shook the Warhawks and gave Earth a much-needed edge. Pilots like Mira led daring strikes, breaking through enemy lines and targeting key command ships. Her voice was steady over the comms. For Earth and for peace. In the heart of battle, Rhea faced the Zalari warlord commander in a tense message exchange. Words became weapons as each tried to break the other's will. "You cannot win this war," the warlord sneered. "Your species is weak." Rhea's reply was calm but fierce. "We are not weak. We see the truth, and we fight for a future no one can take from us." The battle raged for hours. Many ships were lost on both sides, but Earth's forces held the line. The Zalari Warhawks, weakened and betrayed, began to retreat. With the Hawks broken and the peace faction rising in power, the Galactic Senate called for a ceasefire. Negotiations began anew, this time with honest voices and cautious hope. Rhea looked to the stars, knowing the cost of the war would never be forgotten. But humanity had shown its strength, not just in battle, but in understanding what was truly at stake. They had read between the lines, and now a new chapter for the galaxy was beginning, one where peace was not just a treaty on paper, but a future built together.